I think this is going to be an educational live stream, but also I just think it's going to be fun. Zach's been doing this for a while and he does it in Florida. And there's a lot of crazy deals. And crazy can mean a lot of things, guys. Crazy could mean like crazy profit, seller made a crazy decision, or like Florida man crazy. Like this is absolutely insane. How did this happen? So we're gonna be breaking down. I mean, we're gonna try to do three of each. I think mine. I have one that comes to mind that is just like, how did this happen? And I think Zach's ones that come to mind are more like, I found something really crazy in my house because I do deals in Florida. So
Yeah.
I always start. Why don't you start? But so is there an intro needed? This is episode 8 of Why Aren't You Wholesaling? Right? I've really lost track of the episodes. Do you have any
I think it's
ideas?
9. I think it's 9.
Oh, Zach thinks it's 9. Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
episode
three.
9 of Why Aren't You Wholesaling? We talk about wholesaling real estate, guys. It's fun stuff. But
There you go.
today, honestly, we're going to be talking about some of the craziest deals that have ever happened. So it'll be educational, guys, but we'll go off on tangents. The tangents will be particularly educational.
All right.
Anyways, how was your weekend? Super
Dude,
Bowl
just
Sunday.
just wholesaling, man. That's
Just
it.
just wholesaling. You don't stop to like do other things.
Oh, I do other things, but
So what'd you do yesterday?
yesterday was the beach pretty much all
Okay,
day, and then fishing.
there we go. There's some non-wholesale activities.
No, and then you Florida man stuff. You end the night by bull shark fishing. You catch a 400-pound bull shark. You
That's
could
so
throw it on the
sick.
dock. You could not throw it on the dock. It's ultimately up to you which one you want to do. But
Tell me
yeah.
about your craziest deal.
Okay, craziest wholesaling deal. Like actual like the deal itself, $121,000 on a probate. And I just spat out a little ball offer and they said yes. And I thought I was gonna make 50. And then Rick, my dad, he's like, no, he's like, these comps are off. It's like you comp this. I was so stupid. I comped the property way lower than what it should have been. Way lower. Because I found a couple comps, but I thought they were outliers. I'm like, this house is just too nice. And I comped that property like 50 grand below. So I thought I was gonna make 50 grand. I was like, yes. And we threw it out there and Rick said I was off. So I said, okay, we'll do it for $121,000 above. And someone said yes. And I made $121,000 on the deal. That's like, in my mind, the craziest deal when it comes to like the actual deal happening is I was so stupid that I got rich from being stupid because I under comp every property I do because it's always like a game with me. If I pretend the MAO is 150 when really it's really 180, I can always squeeze a little extra profit in there. So I kind of
Okay,
gaslight
cool,
myself.
cool, big profit, big profit, cool. Okay. We can top that. We can top that. And unlike Zach, I leak addresses because I haven't learned yet.
No, you're good, man. Don't
We'll
do it.
do we'll do 347 Clearview Drive, Long Pond, PA. This is a stupid deal. This is one of the craziest financial decisions I have ever seen anybody make ever. And I'll even show you TikTok. I will show you. So this is my house. This is my Airbnb in the Poconos. It's fine, right? It's a good house. It looks like this. And nothing particularly special about it. It's just it's an Airbnb, right? Anyways, it brings in $120,000 a year on Airbnb. It does 10K a month on Airbnb, which is pretty crazy.
Jeez.
Now, I saw the Airbnb records. To be fair, I think in 2019 it did 90K. In 2020 it did 100K. 2021 $110,000, and then she stopped using it as an Airbnb, and then she ends up selling it to me a couple years later.
Mhm.
So I got the house inspected. Turns out it's in pretty good condition. It's got a pool table. It's got one of these basketball machines. It's got a fire pit in the backyard. We're putting a hot tub in there. It's right next to a mountain, right next to a lake, and right next to this like Great Wolf Lodge type family fun resort. And here's why it's one of the craziest deals ever. I ended up buying the property, but this particular deal, the seller was looking for 390,000 and she owed a quarter million on the house. So she wants 390 and she owes a $250,000. When I call her, I'm abroad, I'm overseas, I'm in the Philippines, and I'm talking to her on the phone, and she says, "Yeah, I'm looking to get 390,000. It has been on Zillow for some time, but I have a mortgage at 250,000." And I said, "Oh, that's no problem. I'll just take over your mortgage." And because she had like a 3% interest rate on her mortgage, I'll take over your mortgage and I might be able to make you some payments on the top, and we can just close on this and it will be fine. And she said, "Okay, yeah, that works for me." And she just said, "Okay," like that. And I was like, "Oh, cool." So she calls me back the next day and she says, "I've decided to pay off my mortgage." I'm like, "What? Why?" And she says, "Well, I've just decided to." And I'm like, "Are you sure you want to do that?" I remember telling her, like, "Are you sure you want to do that? You owe $250,000 on your mortgage." And she's like, "Yeah, I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready to pay it off." And I said, "Okay, all right." And in my head, I'm like, "No, it's just like, we're just talking. This is fun. You're not really going to do anything." So she calls my TC a couple days later because we're under contract. She's like, "The mortgage is gone." And I'm like, "Okay, what do you want to do now?" And she's like, "Well, we could just do the deal and you can pay me more, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can pay you more now that there's no mortgage payment." And she agrees to have me pay her a little bit more monthly. And should we never talk about an interest rate? Should we just never talk about one? It just never comes up. So here's a woman with an Airbnb that brings in $110,000 a year.
Hmm.
It's in good condition. She sells me all of her furniture and she has a $250,000 mortgage. And she's like, "You know what? I'm going to pay it off in cash." And guys, you can look this up on public record, 347 Clearview Drive, Long Pond, PA. She
Hmm.
pays off a $250,000 mortgage in cash and then proceeds to seller finance me the $110,000 per year Airbnb at 0% interest. This is one of the most unprecedented, "why the hell did you do that" decisions I have ever seen in my life. Me and my TC are just scratching our heads like, why? Why did you do this? And that, honestly, that's one of the craziest deals, if not the craziest deal I've ever done. It's not about the profit, it's about the what could have possibly gone through your head. Why did you do that? Who told you to do that? That's what happened. I'm so sorry if you're watching this. Michelle, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry, but that was not a good decision. But hey, I tried to tell you not to do it and you did it anyway, so it's okay.
Being inconvenience will people give a lot of stuff up for that. To her, it's the greatest deal ever. So, that one man's trash, another man's treasure.
I can't wrap my head around why she did it. But we're going back and forth. So Zach, you got another one off the dome?
I mean, I got a lot off the dome. Um, One of my favorite ones is the DUI one. So I've always been known of pulling the arrest record list and trying to go after those properties because nobody ever does them. And this one guy was on a sixth DUI. And after DUI one, two, and three, you're usually fine. But after four, you get jail time. Five, you get jail time. And six, they put you away for a very
What do you
long.
mean fine? What do you mean fine? If I got a DUI, my life would be over.
Your life doesn't get over, but they usually throw you in the breathalyzer thing with the key. Like it just gets progressively worse. Depends on your lawyer. But this guy's on a sixth DUI, which it's pretty bad. You do like two or 3 year stints in jail, but like on the sixth one, you go away for a very long time. And this guy, we're buying his house because he's going to prison for a very long time. And we lock up the deal and we actually say, okay, on the day of closing, you need to get out of here. And we're doing our final walkthrough on the last day. And he says, I'll be out of the house. I won't be in here. I said, perfect. I will go in there the last day of the closing, ready to walk through with the cash buyer. And there is a mattress in the garage. And I said, what are you doing? And I said I won't be in the house. I'm gonna live in the garage. He said, I'm going to prison in a month, but I'm gonna stay in the garage for a month. And I said, no, you gotta go. He said, what do you mean? I said, you need to go. And he said, okay, fine. And he's drunk as a skunk at this point. I couldn't sign the contract with him the first time because he was drunk. I had to wait until he was not drunk to get a contract signed with this man. But he's going to prison for a long time. I basically told him he has to leave. So he goes in his car and drives off. Almost wrecks the whole place going out. And then he left, and I was like, okay, now we're good. And then buyer's all good. And then I thought to myself, I said, wait, how did this guy drive off? And then it hit me that he is on his seventh DUI that day, straight to jail. And he's probably still in jail right now. That was one of the most interesting, craziest stories I've dealt with. That was a $75,000 deal. It was pretty good.
Those are big
And
deals.
I didn't realize the guy drove off. He was not supposed to drive off, but he did. And then he got his seventh DUI that day. Pretty fun.
It gets crazier. It gets crazier. I think one of our craziest deals just happened recently. Um, this was crazy for a different reason. I mean, we've talked about it for a while now, but I always like to give you the address too. This one is 9529 Mount Auburn Avenue, Cleveland, Ohio. Completely destroyed house. It just closed on the 4th of February. This thing just closed. And guys, the thing that's crazy about this is not the type of deal and it's not the profit. It's nothing like that. This is if you look up the house, 9529 Mount Auburn Avenue in Cleveland, Ohio, the property is completely destroyed. It's in horrible condition, guys. I don't really know who the right buyer would be for this. Okay, maybe I do. His name's Harry, and he's a Section 8 buyer that we have. But the crazy thing about this is a 12-year-old got it under contract.
Oh, there we go.
I it has to go up there. It has to go up there. And I didn't facilitate this at all. The 12-year-old was on the phone with the lender talking about inspections and loan to value ratios. But yeah, this is a deal done like start to finish fully by a 12-year-old. His name's Anson Lee. He's from Singapore. And the address on this is 9529 Mount Auburn Avenue. It's a $3,000 deal. He got that thing under contract in his second week of Hold My Hand Wholesale. This goes down as one of the craziest deals of all time, not because he is
12.
not because the deal is special in any way whatsoever, but because he's 12. He's 12. I just what's going on, bro? Why what in your head occurred to you to start doing this stuff? And you're really out there calling people at age 12. And now we have like a ton of 12-year-olds who are doing it as well. We haven't had another one close a deal yet, but I almost every single day I got a 12-year-old up on stage like, I made my first call. It's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, that is one of the craziest ones because I mean, you just got to think about where you were in life at 12 and what how elite this individual has to be to get a deal under contract and then actually have it sell. Anyways, that's
That's
number three, or
pretty
that's
good.
number two. That's number two for me. Second craziest deal of all time just happened. My first one was the Airbnb. My second one is this 12-year-old deal. Come on, you said you found somebody who had 2 pounds of fun inhalable
Yeah.
crystals in their attic. What happened there? I was
Well, first,
excited to hear that.
I'm gonna ship you a Tom Brady jersey because it's all about 12 with you. So that's your magic number. How do you have more than one 12-year-old wholesaling in your Discord now?
Yeah, we
I thought
do.
it was
So
only one. Now you have multiple?
Chris Gallagher's brother, my business partner's brother, he's 12. Actually, both of his brothers. It's he's
Oh
getting the whole
wow.
family on board. So Chris Gallagher's older brother, he's this my business partner. He started wholesaling because his job is being taken by AI. He's a voice actor, which is probably the worst job to have for AI. Like that's just
Yeah.
like the most AI-able job ever. The first thing that came out was like voices and AI. So he calls Chris and he's like, bro, what do I do? And Chris is like, why don't you do a Section 8 wholesale deal? So he gets one under contract and it fails. It doesn't sell because he was only 15K under list. And then he gets another one under contract, 20K under list, and he gets himself a little 4K check. I'm not a big fan of going 20K under list. I actually think like across the board, you should go deeper under list to provide value to the end buyer. But hey, 4K is 4K. It's really 6K, but after the double close fee, it's 4K. But the thing is, he's like a month into it. And then, so I don't know if that's closed or closing or what the situation is there. But his younger brother gets word that a 12-year-old closes a deal or has a number of deals in the Discord. And his younger brother gets in on it too. So he's got the older brother and he's got the younger brother. The younger brother's 12, and his name's Jack. I talk to him most days of the week. And every day after school, bro logs on and he's here and he's not playing Fortnite anymore. He's just hopping on the live streams and making calls. We've got him on cash deals right now to warm up. We think it's rather unlikely for anybody to get a cash deal on market right now, but we have him like just talking to realtors about what's destroyed in their houses because realtors are always happy to talk about the problems in a house that they're aware of, especially if it's wrecked. And then you get the recommendations, they yap, and it warms you up as to how to talk to the realtor. So yeah, we have a number of 12-year-olds, but young people in Hold My Hand Wholesale, that's been going on forever. The previous craziest deal, like if you had asked me about this like 6 months ago, what's one of the craziest deals ever? 5234 Cole Road, Memphis, Tennessee. That was a 0% interest seller finance deal from a 15-year-old. That one was impressive. You guys will remember that. You guys remember that. I would not stop yapping about the 15-year-old who closed a deal, and now we're on to the next one, the 12-year-old who closed the deal. That was one of my craziest deals, but it's been topped. The next one I have is like a financial win, but it's Zach's turn.
Hey, I told you whenever my son turns 9, he's gonna have to get a deal.
You have a couple children, Zach?
No, in the future, I said
Oh,
I'm gonna make them wholesale when they're like 5 or 6.
I
We're gonna start
actually am
teaching them.
not. I'm actually not. I met Jerry Norton's kids, and they have no interest in real estate.
Hmm.
I don't believe. I mean, maybe Pace's kid has interest in real estate. I don't know him, but I was in Puerto Rico and I
Mhm.
was in a hot tub, and this guy's like, "Yeah, my dad just moved here. We've got 10 siblings," and I was like, "What, really?" And he's like, "Yeah, well, I've got 10 siblings, and my dad just moved to Puerto Rico," and I was like, "Who does that sound like?" Jerry Norton. I was like, "Dude, no way. Is your dad Jerry Norton?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah." And it was like, "There, you have no idea like how crazy your dad is in the real estate space." He's like, "Oh, I've heard it, bro. I've heard it. I'm not interested."
Hmm.
And yeah, he just wasn't interested. Honestly, I'm
Interesting.
gonna tell my kids that the only way that they can be successful is if they get a 9 to 5. Like I'm so serious about that. I really, really think that's what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna tell them, I'm gonna be like, guys, harsh reality, you need to study your ass off and you need to go sit in a cubicle and you're gonna sit in a cubicle for the rest of your life. And that's just how most of America is. And that's gonna scare them so bad, like it scared me so bad that they're gonna go do something. Because here's my theory, guys. Every single parent who has a every parent who's successful in real estate or entrepreneurship, who's like, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, and gives them exactly what they need to do, they do the opposite. They're not interested in it. So I'm gonna tell my kid, oh yeah, you really, really need to get a 9 to 5, and you just need to sit in the cubicle all day long. And then they're gonna realize, oh my God, that's absolute hell. I have to figure out something else. Because that's what happened to me. I, that's honestly what I think I'm going to do. I'm not going to tell them about real estate. I'm not going to tell them about entrepreneurship. I'm going to say, no, I don't think that's real. They're going to tell me, wait, dad, can you start a business? No, that's not real. That'll fail. You'll never make any money doing that. Okay, not that bitter, but like that's what my parents did to me. And because of that, I was like, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to prove you wrong. Watch this. And then my other evidence to support that is Jerry Norton is one of the best real estate investors online right now, and he has these kids who are not interested in real estate because he's been talking about it his entire life. So I'm just going to say, hey, let's do the conventional thing. And then after we try the conventional thing and we realize, wow, this sucks, they'll look for a different way.
Interesting. I only know from my dad, and my dad was pretty cool. He never missed one sports game for me. He was always able to take me to school. He's always there in my life. And by the time it came for me to start getting a job, he started doing 20, 30, 40, 50,000 dollar checks on his table. And I thought, hey, why am I making $8 an hour? Maybe I should try this before I go into college. And that's what I did. So that's the way I did. I'm like, if he could do it, I can do it. And I think I'm just as smart as that's what I thought at 16 because I knew the world. And my experience was a lot different. But I mean, dude, once you're 17 and you make $20,000, you're never going back, as you know. So
I never made 20K at 17. When I was 17, I was
well, you're a
selling
teenager, right?
Supreme. I was selling Supreme
20?
and shoes at 17.
Dude, it's just once you make $20,000 at that young of an age, you don't stop doing it because you just compare it to everything else. $10 an hour, 15, $20 an hour. But yeah, no opinion on the other thing. I have no idea how that dynamic works. But my dynamic with my dad was awesome. And that made me want to get even crazier into it. I mean, I'll tell you this most wholesaling influencers I've ever seen. All their kids are older than me, a lot of them, and none of them are into wholesale. It's always very interesting to me. I'm the only
I,
one who's like, my dad did it. There's another guy, Tony the closer. His dad was a big wholesaler. He's the only other person I personally have seen in the industry whose dad was a real estate wholesaler and he turned into being a good wholesaler. But he was in the NFL or something. So literally only me and him, the only two people whose dad was a wholesaler, like
I'm
successful.
stubborn. I do the opposite of what my
Crazy.
parents told me. My parents told me to do one thing. I did the complete opposite. I was
We
just like, no,
uncovered whole family history the other time and why you actually got good at wholesaling.
yeah,
It's always about
nobody.
childhood stuff.
Yeah, it was just like this is not going to work. I was told like across the board, this is not how we make money. This is not going to work. It's not real. And I just had this immense like watch me motivation. Like the motivation you're like, okay, watch me do it. And then I remember I wasn't 17 when I got my first assignment fee. I was 20 when I got my first assignment fee. And it still felt really, really crazy to me because I'd never seen any sort of money like that. And it felt even better because I was like, they told me I couldn't. So if honestly, if I have a kid who's anything like who I'm not going to tell him about entrepreneurship. I'm just going to do exactly what my parents did and in a slightly nicer way. And I'm going to say, yeah, you really just got to get a 9 to 5. That's really just got to get a 9 to 5. That's the only way. And then they'll be like, let me see if I can defy my parents. I don't know. That's how I think. That's literally just how I think. So maybe that's wrong, but that's legitimately what I'm going to do. I'm not going to push it on them at all.
Hey, go work a job and do wholesaling. See which one works better.
Wholesaling works better. Wholesaling works better.
Wholesaling works a lot better.
You got
Talk.
to tell us another deal story. I interrupted you.
Yeah,
I'm
one of my
sorry.
favorite deal stories was this was one of my first 100K deals. And this was a wholesale deal, so I don't know if it counts, but basically had a deal in Florida. It was a probate. Guy passed away, and he had his friend as the executor because the son was um, he was snowboarding on the powder, and he was dealing in snowboards, and yeah, he was dealing in snowboards at the snow store on the ski shop on the slopes in Florida, and he went away for a while, and he had like some $250,000 bail he couldn't make, so like he was stuck in prison. So we had the executor, which was the friend, and we signed a contract, and then we bought the house, but the house was one of the most decrepit places ever. So we just did a little clean out. It's called a whole tail. So we just got all the crap out of it. We painted the inside, changed the flooring, and it was pretty much good to go. It had a messed up pool, but we kind of rescreened everything. It was all nice. 100K in and out in like 2 months. A month later, the son apparently out of no magic, I don't know how he did this, but he had a $250,000 bail he posted, and he takes a taxi to the house and tries to break in, and he couldn't do it. And the neighbor across the street calls us, and he says, we know Johnny. He's trying to get in the house. I'm like, why? The house is empty. Why would he want to go in there? And we gave all the valuables to like the guy, like the guy who passed away's like friend, because he has all the valuables. I'm like, okay, here's the pictures, all this stuff. And he comes back the next week, and he tries to break in again, and he couldn't get in because we're pretty good at our stuff. And then I'm like, okay, this guy's not going to stop. And so we put security cameras everywhere, put a trail cam across the street, and we're now on alert because this is a pretty big house. His the neighbor across the street told us that her other buddy, his buddy, who he was dealing with ski equipment, is on bail too for arson, and that was a fun one too. And so they both came to the house the next day, and they broke in. And I'm like, if you try to break in the house 3 times, there's a reason. And lo and behold, there was 2 pounds of ski equipment in the attic that the guy broke into and grabbed. I
The
have no
equipment.
idea. I had no idea. And it might not be ski equipment. Who knows? It might have. I'm stupid, but there was baking powder everywhere. There's baking powder everywhere. And all I could tell you is I don't think people break in for baking powder. And then the guy keeps going to the house, and he came up to me once, and he's like, "You're gonna give me this house." And we got the cops involved, and he broke his parole um, for some other things he did, and he was gone. And then we resold the house, And I don't know if I was a lot, if I was allowed to tell people that, but like, I feel pretty good about it. I made a lot of money on that deal. And the guy sold it quick because he knew that that guy breaking the house would have destroyed it. And the other guy was probably going to burn the place down too. So pretty fun. I didn't take insurance out on that house either. It was kind of scary. So that was probably the riskiest deal I've ever did because the guy that got arrested for arson broke in the house too. So a little
Really?
scary. Yeah, and I had no insurance on the house.
Really?
I'm like, what are the odds? It's not hurricane season, and yeah, it was fun.
How much did you make on the deal?
100.
Oh,
Like
and it
it's
was
like
the whole it was
120, but like after like all the BS, I call it 100.
so it was a whole tail deal. A whole tail deal,
Yeah.
guys, is so interesting.
Yeah.
It's like a wholesale deal, but you buy it. It's kind of like a flip, but you don't really renovate it. You just take better photos and you clean it out a little bit. Imagine you get a house on Zillow 50K below list price and it just went on, like, let's say it just went on the market, right? And people were going to pay more than that, but they did a really poor job marketing it. They had horrible photos of it. It was dirty on the inside and the landscaping was shit, and then you redid maybe the grass and the landscaping, and then you just did the interior photos after cleaning it out, and you had the nice lighting in the house, and then the house sells for $100,000 more than you got it, and you got it 50K below list. That's a wholesale deal. It does require you to buy the property, but it's great because you're flipping it without actually flipping it. It's like a let me remarket this property to get it on higher terms. I mean, imagine you tried to sell your house right now with all this garbage inside of it, and then you get really low offers, but you clean out the house and you maybe paint it a little bit, maybe fix a broken window, and you get professional photos done. That thing's going to sell for a lot more money. A lot more
That's
money.
it. It's just like clean. It's like just cleaning out a disgusting car and making it look nice and detailing it for 300 bucks. You'll sell it for $2,000 more. That's the basic concept of it.
Guys, I have a really good one too. I've got a great one. This house isn't for sale right now. I've got two great ones, guys. Sometimes a deal is not great because of the proceeds. It's just great because of how easy it is. So I've got two for you. I've got two, and I like to do addresses. So this lead actually came in last night. I was at dinner last night and I got this lead, and it's just so perfect. It's just so easy, so perfect, so no effort. I did all of the work for this deal over the past 3 years, meaning that just building my reputation up means that this thing just falls directly into my lap. Again, I like to give addresses because it lets you know it's real. Too many people are not giving addresses, guys. I mean, maybe there's a reason not to, guys, but if you exit the
Okay.
wholesale deal, if you're no longer part of the wholesale deal, oh,
Mhm.
actually, riddle me this, Zach. If you're no longer
Okay.
part of the wholesale deal, what's the problem with saying the address?
When the seller goes and decides to call the police on you and they say you stole their house, and then you get a subpoena, and then you have to go to a police station and explain the deal when
Wait, what do you mean? I
clearly,
have a
oh,
wait,
this
wait,
doesn't
wait, wait,
happen
wait,
to
wait,
you?
wait.
Doesn't happen
I,
to you?
I don't
Am I the only guy
understand. How
that
can
this
the
has happened?
seller say I stole the house if I wholesaled it?
Oh, people are crazy. You never dealt with this?
Wait. You have a house. I go under contract for your house. I wholesale it to somebody else. The deal closes. As the wholesaler, I am completely removed from the deal. You say that I stole your house, and I'm like, okay, let's check title, and I'm not on title. Now what?
They call the police and say Zach stole my house. He forged
I'm
my
not
deed.
in the house, and I'm not on title. How?
There's a statute of limitations, which means anything you say
Wait.
can be used against you.
But
Okay,
if I'm
I've
not
had
in the
sellers.
house and I'm not on title, how can you say I stole it?
Okay, so if okay,
What?
so if a seller tells the police that you forged the deed and transferred the deed without their permission, that is a crime.
But they have to sign closing docs. You can't just give somebody a deed and then, oh,
Mm,
this is my deed.
So you create a police report, then the police go to you. They say, "Show me proof." I say, "I'm not going to say anything without a lawyer." And then they go and subpoena the title company. Title company gets the deed, and then they investigate everything. And then you get stuck, and then you have to deal with that. That has happened three times to me.
This seems like the most avoidable thing. Sir, we have an accusation that you stole a house.
To talk to my title company.
What house is it? Well, it's 123 Main Street. Well, I'm
Mhm.
not in the house right now, and here's the closing docs for the sale, and you can see somebody else owns it, and you can see the seller added their signature to the closing docs, and you can see the file number from the title company, and you can see that it's processed, and you can see that I don't own it, and you can see that I'm not in the house.
Mhm.
Did you hit your head?
Well,
I just can't see it. Guys,
quit
I'm gonna
claim
keep.
deed fraud's it's pretty rampant across the United States. So they investigate them pretty hard, and it'll take you all day to get when you get investigated. You'll waste your entire day. Then they
Oh,
can go back and do everything you
that's
said.
silly. That's so silly. I just be
You know,
like,
people do that. They quit claim the whole deed over, and then it goes into a whole case. On top of
crazy.
that, too,
Well,
when
here's one I'm working on right now. It hasn't processed
okay,
yet, hasn't closed yet, but I'm okay giving it to y'all because it's off market.
tell me.
And it's a recent sale. So here's what happened, guys. This is like, there's so many times that this has happened to me, but this just happened last night, and it's such a perfect scenario, guys. So the address located at 5009 West Desert Lane in Levine, Arizona. I believe that's like a
Mhm.
subset of Phoenix. I don't really know. Let's find out really quickly. But because what is Levine, Arizona? I got to make sure this isn't a good market because I'm actually doing this deal right now. Oh, it's Phoenix. Okay, never
Mhm.
mind. It's Phoenix. Okay, so it's pretty much Phoenix, Arizona. So think about a $500,000 house in Phoenix. That's what we have right here. 5009 West Desert Lane, Levine, Arizona. I get a text from this guy on my website. I have a website. It doesn't have any ads running behind it. I just talk about it on TikTok and people try to sell me their house on the
Mhm.
website. And he submits the house and I don't respond because I'm out at dinner. And then I see he submits the same house again. And I'm like, oh
Mhm.
man, he's got to be motivated as hell. So I whip out my phone at dinner. We ordered like yellowtail sashimi and we're eating the sashimi, me and my
Mhm.
friend Chris and my buddy Hunter. And I pull out my phone and I text this guy. I'll literally read you the text. Hey Tamar, his name's Tamar. Hey Tamar, Richard Taylor here. Talk to me about what's going on with the house on Desert Lane. And he says, I'm just reading you the conversation exactly how it went. And guys, I will make 20,000 off of this. I will make $20,000. I'm at dinner. $20,000 just falls into my lap at dinner. Most ridiculous thing ever. Seller reaches out to me. I don't respond. Seller reaches out again. And I'm like, you've got to be mad motivated to be reaching out to me twice at 8 p.m. on a Saturday night. This has to be on your mind, burning a hole in it. So I say, hey, Tamar, Richard Taylor here. Talk to me about what's going on with the house on Desert Lane. And he says they're trying to foreclose on a property that I have due to hardship, and I would like to sell and get some money in my pocket before I lose the house. And I said, absolutely. How soon is the foreclosure? He says, not sure. And I said, how long has it been since you paid your mortgage? And he says, I've been dealing with the mortgage company and using their programs to kind of help me on track. Partial payments. I just negligently lost track, but it's been a while, over 6 months. So essentially, what he's saying is, I haven't paid my mortgage in 6 months. And I said, the foreclosure will prevent you from buying a house for the foreseeable future due to what it will do to your credit. And I said, I can stop this process for you entirely, catching up all of your back payments. And then I asked him for a mortgage statement. I wanted to see what his interest rate was because the value in these deals is largely his interest rate. Well, he sends me this. Check this out, guys. This is what he sends me. I don't know if you can see that, but that is a
3.29.
3.329% interest rate on it. And at that moment, like, guys, I literally went, let's go, let's go, let's go. So I look at that, I'm like, oh my God, this is perfect. This is a perfect scenario. So he's about to lose his house. It's been over 6 months. We talk further, we find out that it's probably been like 7, 8, maybe even 9 months. And he's down bad. That the bank's going to take his house. He's going to be homeless. He bought this house 2 years ago, maybe a little more than 2 years ago, three-ish or so years ago, and he can't sell the house. It's not even for sale on Zillow. So I ask him for his mortgage statement. He sends me the mortgage statement, 3% interest rate. And I told him, I was like, look, this isn't a scenario where we're going to be able to get you any profit. This is going to be a scenario where we reset all of your debt and get this headache off your table. And he's fully down for that. He's like, honestly, at this point, that is a blessing. I don't even need to make any money. I literally just need to get out from under this horrible situation. I can't pay my mortgage. I'm having this issue in my life going on, which is personal, and he didn't want to talk about it with me. And then also, we're about to lose the house. Every single day, I could lose the house. Like they could show up at any time. So we end up agreeing to catch up all of his arrears. His arrears are about $19,000 of back payments that he hasn't made on his mortgage in exchange for taking over the debt that he has in the property. The debt's sitting at like 430,000. He bought it for 455. House is worth about 455, 460 right now. So we are taking over his loan for about $20,000 in back payments. It's got a 3.29 or 3.329% interest rate on it. and it cash flows really well. It's a 4 bed, 2 bath with 2,200 square feet in Phoenix, Arizona. His payment's 2,600. The rent is 3,000, so it doesn't cash flow like super well. But your rent is above the mortgage payment. Guys, if you have a 450K house with $20,000 down and a 3% interest rate and no realtor to pay, that's a 20K check. That's a 20K check. Somebody will buy that off me for 20,000. And it also has a pool in it, so it's got retail desirability. Really good condition, 2006 build with a renovation on it.
Mm.
Pool, Phoenix, Arizona, one of the hottest markets in the United States, 3.3% interest rate, and it just falls into my lap. And honestly, this is not one of the craziest deals of all time. I just did nothing for it. Like, guys, the extent of the text that I sent, I maybe sent 15 texts for $20,000. It's so easy. And I tell people to pick up the phone and start filming themselves because, guys, I talked to this guy and he's like, yeah, man, I saw you on TikTok. I heard that you take over. Yes, the owner called me. I saw that you take over people's mortgages and get new families into there. And I was like, bro, we could totally do that for your house. And it turned out to be the perfect situation. So the way that you get this like to happen to you guys, pick up the phone and start talking about what you do and hold my hand wholesale, what we teach. And then just create yourself a little website like stopyourforeclosurenow.com or something like that. And then people submit their houses to you once you talk about it on the internet enough by picking up the phone and talking into the phone like I do every single day or doing this live stream. Because I'm sure one of you guys in the live stream right now, you'll reach out to me. I know one of you has a house and I know one of you isn't going to make any money on the sale of your house. You're going to reach out to me. We're going to help you out. But guys, that's why I tell you to talk about it because I did nothing for this. I actually have a one of these situations, which is one of the craziest deals of all time, and I'll talk about that after Zach's next deal. But I just thought I
Mm.
had to bring up this deal because what did I do for this? What did I do for this $20,000? I was at dinner with my friends. Okay, that was just a really crazy happening from last night.
How many cash deals have you, like, how many cash deals are you doing on like a monthly basis
4.
for? So let me tell you why I tell people not to sell the addresses. Number one, I'll use an example. This is on Ridge Lake Drive in Melbourne, Florida. I posted the deal. I showed the deal. I was 20 years old and I was stupid. This was in Melbourne, Florida. There are approximately 15 good cash buyers in Melbourne, Florida. 15. I posted the deal and I posted everything because I was feeling like a hunk. And what happens was that video gets 2,000 views and everyone goes to the address and they see who bought the house. And then they all start sending deals to said buyer.
But it's an
So
LLC, right?
a lot of my buyers in their personal name and a
Oh
lot of
shit.
them are
Okay.
LLCs that you can find. If you throw the mailing address into PropStream or whatever, back in the day, you could find them. What happens with that one cash buyer who buys 4 deals a year from me? What happens when 50 wholesalers start sending him deals in Melbourne, Florida? Do they start taking my deal or do they have more supply than demand? And it's called getting your buyer stolen, which is a crime for most cash wholesalers. So if I gave out 100 addresses a year, I would tell you for every 100 deals I do, probably goes to about 15, 20 buyers. And 80% of all my deals go through 20% of my buyers. And if those buyers get stolen, or if more wholesalers can contact them, it's game over for not game over for my wholesaling operation, it just gets a lot worse. So when you do cash deals, people can go reverse. And that's why I always call this the stupid kid theory. If a kid wants to brag on a cash, creative finance different, on a cash deal, says, bro, made $100,000 wholesaling this deal from this dude. Number one, I can just go to the address, see who bought it, contact that guy, boom, now he's a qualified cash buyer. If 100 wholesalers start sending this guy deals, he's less likely to buy deals from me anymore. And it's called getting your buyer stolen. That's the number one reason why.
Now what about creative finance?
Creative
Too many
finance,
buyers.
dude, you do whatever you want in creative
Too
finance.
many
I could care
buyers.
less.
Too many buyers. Guys,
There's too many buyers.
you're all buyers for creative finance. You just don't know it. Each one
Think
of
of
you would be
Dallas. There's 100 good cash buyers in Dallas at most.
each one of you is a cat. Each none of
Oh
you are
yeah.
cash buyers, but each one of you is a creative finance buyer. You would be so down to buy the deal. I tell you, I'm a
Oh yeah.
guys. Even if you've never bought a house before, after I tell you this next deal story, you'd say I'd buy that house because you will have enough. Why? Because it was $0 down. So you will have enough. I've got a crazy one for you. I might have to tell two. These will be my last two. These will be my last two. So There's this house. It's in Oklahoma City. It's 12136 Thorn Ridge Road in Oklahoma City. House is listed on Zillow for 300. They have a mortgage of 285 on it, and you know the story, right? You got a house for sale on Zillow for 300. They owe 285. If an offer comes in at 290, you go negative after paying your realtor. So I skip trace the seller and I have a conversation directly with the owner of the property, and I say, "Hey, bro, I could buy your house through your realtor, and you'll have to bring 5K to the table, or you give me the house for $0 down, and I just take over your loan." That loan's at 3%. So, guys, this is actually a flip too. This is a flip, and it's like kind of a rental story. But this loan is at 3% interest. He gives me the house for $0 down. If you look up that address right now, guys, it is fully turnkey. Like, it just does not need any work. It's in great condition. We could rent it out as is. But if you look up the same road that it's on, right next door, there's a $1.3 million house for sale. And then everything around it is 500,000 low end and $800,000 on average. And you got a couple $1 million houses. So I talked to my business partner. I'm like, dude, we don't have to sell it, but we could flip this house. Like, we could make it into a really nice property. So we put 70,000 into it. We have a tax burden. We pour $70,000 into it. I owe 285 on it. I pour $70,000 into it. Now it's worth 525. So here's the thing. I got the house for $0 down. Payment is 2,000, rent is 3,000. So automatically free house off the bat. I had a tax burden issue. I pour $70,000 into it, and the house damn near doubles in value. Now it's worth mid $500,000. I owe 284,000 or so on the property, and I got it for $0 down, and I could have rented it out for $1,000 of gross cash flow as is. So it was literally a free house. But I'm so sorry. I have to tell one more. I have to tell one more. I got this house in San Antonio, also a free house. This one you're gonna like more because I didn't need to put any money into it, and I didn't put any money into it.
Mm.
This property is in San Antonio, Texas, and it was listed on Zillow for 300, or I'm sorry, it was listed on Zillow for like 290. I want to say it was listed for 290,000. But the house was in San Antonio, Texas, fully renovated. Who am I to just talk about this? I'll show you it. I'll show you the photos. I'll show you what it looked like. So check this out, guys. This is my house in San Antonio, Texas, right here. Check it out. Fully renovated, right? It is in perfect condition. Like, it does not need anything. It might as well be a new construction, guys. Needs absolutely nothing. This guy is asking for $290,000, and he doesn't have a mortgage on it. It's actually free and clear. And I don't know why he decided to do this, guys, but he says, "You know what? I'll give you the house for $0 down and $1,600 per month." I've got a tenant in there currently paying $1,800, and I put $0 into it. It took me about a month to find my tenant, guys. $0 put into the property, $0 down on the property. My payment is $1,800 with taxes and insurance, and I have a tenant paying $1,800, and we self-manage it. So I pay nothing per month for the property. I put nothing down on the property except for closing costs, and the house is in fully renovated condition. He gave me the house. He just gave it to me. Here, just take it. No mortgage, no motivation. Easily could have rented the thing out, just done with it. Here, take my fully renovated house in San Antonio. All right, those are my craziest deals.
Okay, there we go. I'm just telling you that there's an infinite amount of cash buyers when it comes to creative deals.
Infinite,
Always.
infinite. I mean,
Infinite.
guys, would you buy my free house? Like, if I were to say, I've got a fully renovated house, you're not going to make any money on it, but you can have it entirely for free. $0 down, and your monthly payment is exactly covered by the tenant. Every one of you would buy that because it's much better than renting, right? Sure. Is this like the craziest investment in the world? No, but it's probably gone up like 50,000 since I bought it a year and a half ago or so. So I just get to hold on to the property. You know what else? He has a 30-year balloon on it. What's even the point of that? The thing is like damn near paid off. I'll owe like 10,000 in 30 years. And what is $10,000 in 30 years? Literally pennies.
Yeah. 30 is insane. Probably like $6,000. It depends on.
It's like, why did he do that? What was the reasoning behind you doing that? Some of my craziest deals are just like, I genuinely cannot figure out why you decided to make this decision. I'll take it though. I'll take it though.
That's
So
my
I think
cash yield.
first craziest was the woman who paid off a $250,000 mortgage in cash. She had a $250,000 mortgage. She pays it off in cash, proceeds to sell or finance me the house at $0 down. And the history of the house does six figures a year on Airbnb. Horrible decision. Second craziest deal, 12-year-old does a wholesale deal start to finish. How? Third craziest deal, either my free house in Oklahoma City or my free house in San Antonio, Texas. Both of those are I understand why the guy in Oklahoma City did it because he had the mortgage on it, but the guy in San Antonio, you're free and clear, bro. You've got a 300K asset and you're just giving it to me. Okay, fine, I'll take it. Zach's craziest ones are more like this crazy Florida man was on parole and he had all this crazy stuff in the basement. And I'm like, yeah, well, I've never really dealt with any of that. I've
I had
never
another
really dealt.
wholesaler try to punch me when I was 17 once because I put him and his family out of their house because he made all of his money off bandit signs and I started just take he started taking my bandit signs off because he was getting less deals, and so I started taking his bandit signs off too, and we had a bandit sign war, and it came to the point where he wasn't getting any deals anymore, and him and his wife didn't have any money, and they were about to lose their house. And the guy saw me, put my bandit sign down, came out. He had a fun on his hip and tried to punch me. I got out of there and got out of there because he had a fun on his hip. Uh, fun, yeah. And proceeded, the guy became a realtor because he couldn't pay the bills wholesaling anymore. It's another crazy story. I put a guy out of business so bad, he tried to physically assault me
It's because he does off market, guys. It's
because he
because he
does
does
off
off.
market. Yeah.
It's because he does off market. He runs into all these crazy situations,
Yeah.
and on
It's
market, I just don't get. I don't understand why people go off market. I don't
Richard,
get
here's the
it.
thing. Find me 10,000 people who've done a deal doing creative finance on market, and find me 10,000 people doing off market wholesale. It's a numbers game. But here's the other thing too that I don't think here's the craziest stat that makes no sense. People will take a 4% treasury bond and make 4% on their money. People do that. Or they could just sell a deal at 5% interest or 6%. It's crazy to me. Um, that's the craziest stat that I know from people. So when you question people if they like will sell their deal on creative for like 5 or 6%, if the numbers work, it's because it's yields more than money sitting in the bank. People just they have money sitting in the bank for years. Sometimes better just to sell the asset on creative and get a little more. You can make something on your asset there. But yeah, it's weird. I'm
Guys, TikTok chat. They got 140 of people of you listening. Would you rather A, make 400 calls for an off market deal, but you're going to make more than me? You will make more than me. 400 calls, and it is kind of a maybe, but 400 calls, let's say you make like 30, $40,000. Or you just go on market and perhaps you make 20 calls and your check could be anywhere from 15. So you could do it today. You could do the 20 calls today, but the 400 calls, you're going to have to pull the list. You're going to have to spend some money. You are going to get a lot of disconnected phone numbers. You're going to have to get a dialer, or you make 15 to 20 calls offering people over their asking price and your profit is less. I admit that. I know it's less, but the thing is the people already want to sell their house. They
Mm.
already want to sell their house. So the question at the end of the day is off market or on market. I am so definitively convinced on market. It's not that off market doesn't work. It's just for me, I'm like, I could pull a deal off of Zillow in the next hour if I wanted to, and y'all have seen me do it.
Okay, but the question which I'm trying to help you with is what do you do? God forbid, knock on wood, you pass away tomorrow and you had two kids and a wife. Is there any more income coming in outside of the rental properties?
Oh no,
None.
that's wholesaling's a
Me?
rat.
Me? I got my acquisitions managers.
Well, sure.
I
I
got
mean,
I got, I
the
got the team.
Discord makes money, like not off of subscriptions. I mean, off of people finding deals.
I'm probably the average person. If the average person built up a $1 million per year on the creative side and a million on the off market side, and they had a scaled out business, if that person gets eliminated, what happens? It's not a business, it's
Well,
a high paying job.
you can. Why can't you hire on market acquisitions managers?
How many do you have?
About 11,500.
Okay, like actual ones outside of a Discord.
Well, I know, but why can't
I
you
could
just
say
hire?
I've I mean, I
Why
could
can't you
save
just
250,000 acquisition managers on my stuff too. It doesn't matter.
you could just hire an acquisitions virtual assistant or acquisitions manager to do on market. I
As
used to
of
have
now,
I used to have
there's only
acquisitions
one
managers.
man. There's only one man in the entire United States who has built a Discord of creative as big as yours. There's only one person. One out of 365 million. You have to admit you on social media is an anomaly. There's a lot of creative finance dudes your age on social media and they ain't getting any traction. You have to admit that too.
Of course. But guys, so here's what I think. You can why can't you hire an acquisitions manager for on market? Because
I
that's what would
I don't
keep it.
see him. I don't know many. I
Bro,
really don't.
here's an example. Realtors do acquisitions for on market all the time. We got a tab in the Discord called Realtor Army, and it's
True.
it's essentially realtors who just do acquisitions for you, and they get a cut of your wholesale deal, and they get commission on the deal. But you could hire an acquisitions manager. But honestly, yeah, most people who do this, they're not making a business into it. They're just hitting the phone. So like a lot of my students will hit the phones for like 2 hours a day, but they'll pull a deal a day. And it will be light work because they know how to identify somebody who really, really, really needs help. Like if somebody's about to lose their house, honestly, I do off market. Like one of my favorite deals that I just told you about was an off market deal. Like the one where it just dropped into my
Mhm.
lap. That's not on market. That is an off market deal. And that comes from just talking about this on the internet. As I said, one of you was probably going to reach out to me to sell your house after this live stream, and I'll be able to help you out. But I like the off market thing, but I'm talking about for like everyday people. Everyday people. Like honestly, if I were when I started doing wholesaling off market, you have to pull the list, you have to get the dialer, you have to get all these tools. There's a couple of tools that you need to get, and then you're going to need some credibility because the seller wants to know if you're an actual buyer. Whereas the process for on market is go onto your browser and type Zillow, call. There's some learning associated with that. You need to
Right.
learn who to call. 99% of the houses on Zillow should not be called. Should not be called. You're not going to
Yeah.
get a deal off of them. There's only 1% of houses on Zillow that should be called. You just have to figure out which ones. And that's my job. My job is to teach you how to figure out which ones should be called. Because if you call 15 or 20 of the people who should be called, you're
Mhm.
going to be getting a deal unless you sound incompetent on the phone. And that's illustrated by the 12-year-old guys.
At the end of the day, we have a guy who's made millions of dollars from creative financing on market saying you should do it, and you have another guy who make millions wholesaling off market saying you should do his thing. I think they both kind of work.
They both work.
It's pretty stupid. If I started rowing tomorrow, I'd suck at it. You started wrestling tomorrow, you'd suck at it. And they're like there's certain disciplines some people are naturally better at than others, and you're naturally better at on market. And I said this the first time I ever talked to you on your Discord. I said you have an extreme uncanny ability to talk to a realtor in a way that gets them to want to do it. And you created a bunch of that stuff yourself, right? But it's very impressive compared to the average person I've always seen, right? I
Do you
feel
think
like
he's
if
hitting
you
on
use
me? Is he hit? Oh, I'm sorry. I got the wrong idea.
no,
He's from Florida. I can't joke about that.
it's illegal here. We burn books over here. They don't burn books, they just ban books. It's so funny. All right. So you're really good at talking to realtors. I'm telling you, if you use that effort into off market, I think you could do better. That's my opinion. I'm just saying.
Dude, I actually I told Chris, I was like, bro, I'm thinking of start wholesaling again because I only wholesale for stunt. Like I we have an operation, but really it's you guys wholesaling and us just I have like a dispo operation, education and dispo operation. And I told Chris yesterday after the $20,000 check just fell into my lap, I was like, I think I'm gonna start wholesaling again because I just do deals on camera for my students and they actually close. Like the
Mm,
deals we do on camera, they legitimately close. But last night I just realized this off market this like just these leads falling into my lap from social media, I could
mm.
make us an easy 100K a month just wholesaling these. That's 5 of those 20K deals per
A lot
month.
of money.
And I get 4 people reaching out per day. So I'm just going to, honestly, I'm just going to follow up with my own leads because there's just so much money laying on the ground. It's just so beyond easy. But I'll still do the on market thing just to demonstrate it's possible. Like we did I think about a week ago, I just did a live stream where I solely called, no questions, just call. But I'm going to start wholesaling myself again just on my own private time because it's so lucrative. But next
Okay.
week, for anybody who's watching, the entire week, all of next week is going to be spent on large multifamily. Like the
There
type
you
of stuff that you're intimidated to call, like the $3 million buildings, I'm going to be tackling them. Because guys, you know what happens when you call those? 100K assignment fee, hundred
There you go.
thousand dollar assignment fee when you call them, and they send you more opportunity just because everybody's so intimidated to call these buildings that all of next week in Hold My Hand Wholesale, we're just going to be calling big boys,
Hey, hey,
not even
Richard.
like 10 unit multifamily. I'm talking like 50 units, guys. It's going to be great.
Hey, some in the comments says you don't do real estate. You just make money on Discord. You don't do any deals.
Oh, I wholesale.
My
Myself when
favorite is when people when I see comments like that. I'm like, did that guy just not show a HUD in his hand? Was that fake?
well, this
It's
one is
hilarious to me. Someone actually like has the courage to say that on a chat when you're literally holding something in your hand.
but I know her. I'm not going to say anything bad about her. I think recently she's probably gotten pissed off with like not doing a deal or
But
something.
like, how
Because
does
she's been
somebody
in my
say that? Like,
she knows we do deals. I don't need to say anything about that. She knows we do deals because she's been
it's
here. I've seen
crazy.
her face. I've seen her
It's
face for
crazy.
maybe a year now.
Crazy.
Yeah, this was guys, this one was great. This was done by a student of mine named John Ali and Garrett Gross, and just an unfathomable deal. Closed on the 23rd of December, so a little over a month ago at this point. And I believe it was a 13 unit portfolio, and there's $100,000 in assignment fees right here. I can show it. I'll just show the 100K, 102,000 specifically. So here's what we have. This is these there are multiple parties here. We have the TC, and then we have assignment fee, assignment fee, assignment fee, assignment fee. Mine is the one highlighted in yellow. One of our things is we give the students the majority of the profit on all of the wholesale deals that we do. But this one right here, guys, see if I can zoom in on those figures. These numbers, mine is the one highlighted in yellow. That's my side of the profit, but these numbers total $102,500. This is not even my deal. This is not even my deal. That's John Ali's deal. That's John Ali's deal. But we still wholesale, guys. And honestly, I'm gonna start doing my own wholesale operation because it's just like, and when I say my own wholesale operation, obviously we have the company. The company does 30 to 40 deals per month. But what if I just started doing 5 deals myself per month? That would be an extra 100K. That would be extra 100K per month, especially if there's no realtors involved because they're off market. I do like off market, but I don't know how to tell you guys to do that other than to start filming yourself. If you film yourself for 2 years talking about something, people are going to start sending you deals, but I can't easily say, oh, just start doing this. However, I'm going to start eating up my own leads because they're just so perfect.
There you go, man. I like it. I like talking to people that say things on comments when you have too much evidence against it. It's always hilarious to me, man. Like I remember I told you someone on a podcast said that you're fake. I was like, remember that this one guy said you were fake. I'm like, this is so funny. It's like it's so funny when people like say things. It's like that are untrue. It's like, have I not been on? Have you not been on videos for 2 years showing you have been doing it? It's
I
crazy.
think I can close a deal right now in one call. That
Go
seller, I
crazy.
think if I call him, it'll close right now.
Go call him.
Should I do it?
Go do it.
Chat. Should I call a guy right now? I think I can do a single if he picks up. It is Super Bowl Sunday.
It is.
Chat, I'm gonna need at least 50 of you. 50, 50. Okay, that's at least 50. Okay, we'll call him. I'll call him right now. Watch.
Somebody. Jeez.
It's ringing.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not a
I was calling the seller who reached out to me about he's 9 months behind on mortgage payments. If he had picked up the phone right there, we would have got the contract sent to him. It's because we've already hashed out most of the details. I just need to know exactly what his arrears are going to be. I'm kind of sad about that outcome, guys, but I have an inbound lead. I can't. It's Zach's time too. It's Zach's time too. I honestly after this TikTok, I might stay on and do another
Look what
call
we
for him.
got.
Okay?
Look what we
What
got.
does Zach have in his hands?
Subject to
What is
deal,
that?
South
Is that a HUD?
Carolina, doing a land trust. I just found that. I just found. I didn't. Just found. This is Rick's desk right here. Contract for deed right now. South Carolina. 16 payment we're taking over is, let's see.
Look, he's doing creative finance, guys.
I do
Bet
creative fine.
I
I'm
think he has more than I do actually. I think he doesn't talk about
trying
it,
to
but I
show you
actually
this.
I have a
Look,
I think that
just
Zach
in case
owns
you guys
more.
think I'm crazy, look who the on the trustee of the land trust. I don't want to show the whole thing, but Rick had actually messed up. Look what he wrote. He put Rick Ginn as successor trustee. It's Richard Ginn, but the way we write land trusts, I'm telling you, what you're doing, the way that you explain it is a little different, but the way you do subject to is the same exact way we do it. This is how thick it is, though. The land
Could
trust.
you tell us you own way more houses creative finance than I do, don't you? I know
No,
he
the
has
trust
way
does.
more houses,
The
but I don't
trust
know.
does. I'm just a trustee. I don't own it. Trust does. Seconds broke.
He doesn't even tell me how many houses he has, but I'm pretty sure he actually does more creative finance than I do in terms of ownership because I've only been buying. How many years have you been buying? I've only been buying for a year and a half.
Like five solid.
That's crazy.
Like a
Okay, so
solid
that's
five.
crazy. So we did get our first houses at about the same time, but I'm only a
Yeah.
year and a half. I'm only a year and a half into this. I got my
I'm talking
first
about
house
certain
about
like creative. Like rentals, yeah. Like 7. But yeah.
7 years you've been buying rentals.
Nasty,
Guys, this
right?
is really new to me. This is really new to me. I haven't been in this long. I really haven't been in it that long. I did my first deal in 2021.
Here's the secret. If you can make a lot of money and then you just don't blow it on stupid stuff, you tend to have a lot of extra money laying over, you just invest it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Pretty simple.
It's great.
You
It's
got no
great.
Gucci on. Like I mean you don't need to flex on anyone. And if you're young and you can learn just you don't need to flex on people all the time and use all that extra money on cool stuff and reward yourself sometimes, buy 1 or 2 nice things. That's pretty much it.
I like art and I like furniture and I like houses and I like cars. But I don't like the designer stuff. I don't like the yeah, I'm not into Gucci.
Your
I'm not
house is designer.
I guess so.
There you
Dude,
go.
I told Zach about this before the stream, but
That's pretty sick, actually.
the guy who did the Nike campus, he did my house too. I just found out about this, but the guy who designed like the ultra modern Nike campus and a ton of skyscrapers in Los Angeles and Portland. I actually got to show you guys something. Zach, I got to show you this dude. He did the look at this. This is insane. Look what he did. This is a building in Portland. It's like this meditation center in Portland, but this is one of the things that he designed. It's absolutely massive and it's on a cliff. But this, along with the Nike campus, along with a ton of other things, this is one of the craziest deals I've ever done. Honestly, the house I live in right now is one of the craziest deals I've ever done. No, we're not on Discord today, guys, because this is my podcast. This is just something I do in my personal time. It's actually completely separate from the Discord. And we've gone on long enough a tangent. You got any other crazy deals?
I the craziest deal, the craziest thing about me is I decided I wanted to start this business and I just never quit. And look where I'm at. Same thing with you. Same thing with all the successful people that we've influenced. The only difference between them and you is they decided never to quit. You're only losing this business when you quit. If you keep going, eventually, if you just get better and better, you're going to start doing deals.
That's true. That's
That's it.
true. And then the other thing is to help other people. Guys, if you really help other people like on Facebook, you just start answering questions. Is this going to be a lot faster process for you? Honestly, you can't
That's it.
miss if you just keep going. You really can't miss if you just keep going. Your depth of knowledge just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you just can't miss. You really can't. Honestly, I don't know anybody who's look, it's only a failure if it causes you to quit. It's a learning lesson if you keep going. So just keep going and help other people. That's one of the biggest things. That's one of the biggest things, guys. If you go on Facebook, if you so I think you should join a community, whatever community you're in. If wholesaling, I genuinely believe it's important for you to be in a community, and it's because of all the deals that other people are going to bring you. For example, that 100K deal, I had nothing to do with it, but they gave it to me. They just gave me $11,000 out of that 100K deal. I had nothing to do with it. I didn't acquire the deal. I didn't sell the deal. They just gave me $11,000. That's the power of a community. But the thing is, if you're not the host of a community, you can rank up in the community just by answering other people's questions. And whether it's a literal ranking or whether it's oh, we know this guy as the question answerer, you start getting a part of other people's deals. They're like, hey, I've got a deal here. Can you help me out with it? You get on the phone, you close the deal for them. Automatically, you're in that deal. And you just start doing layups. Like I got this student named Garrett. Garrett is he's like a layup wholesaler in Hold My Hand Wholesale, where he literally just facilitates other people doing his deals. So he teaches, and then people go out and do what he teaches, which is the same thing that I teach, and then they bring him the deal within Hold My Hand Wholesale, and he closes it for them. And it's great for the students because on week one, you'll know how to pitch a trust acquisition agreement, but you won't know how to close it on the phone. But Garrett will. So on week one, you stumble over your words. You're like, we kind of maybe might want to take it over in a trust. And they're like, well, how do you do that? And you're like, I don't know. And then you connect him with Garrett. Garrett just does a layup after layup after layup on 3% interest rate deals, getting a piece of a $20,000 check. So easy.
Easy as that, man.
Anyways,
I like it. Last thought for me today, because it's Super Bowl Sunday, but you got to release more videos on your channel, my channel, and it because people are loving the videos. But whatever team that you want to win the Super Bowl today, I want to let everyone watching this understand. You will get you will get way more excited doing a big wholesale deal than you ever do with any of your favorite teams winning a Super Bowl. I promise everybody watching this.
oh yeah.
So I know we all like sports, dude. I love the Miami Dolphins. I told everyone, I said, that $120,000 deal I did, the dopamine hit rush in my brain that I got from doing that deal will never come close to the Miami Dolphins winning the Super Bowl in my life. Real estate is way more fun. So before we all start talking about sports and stuff, some of y'all spend so much time watching sports, and I love sports. If you spent some of that time into actual wholesaling, you would actually start getting some success. People legit will spend 15, 20 hours a week watching basketball. It's crazy to me.
When you do it in front of people, it's even crazier. So when you have the wholesale deal and it closes, it feels insane. When other people see it and it affects positive change in their life, guys, I unintentionally spent 5 hours just looking at houses yesterday, not even for deal purposes, just because I like the houses. I was just looking at architecture, guys. I was looking at 80s and 90s architecture, and I was watching all of these old videos about like architect panels as it relates to the house that I bought that I had no idea was built by this dude. And I just fell down a rabbit hole. 5 hours of just looking at houses. And then I hop on the phone with one of my students, Braden. Braden's got a 5 floor. I don't know if you call it a skyscraper, a 5 floor commercial building. I don't know. It's kind of like a mini skyscraper, but he's got a 5 floor commercial building, and he's structured like a 15% cash on cash return on it. And he says that nobody's ever made an offer on it, which motivated me to do my entire next week on those like kind of mini skyscraper buildings. Because you guys, they're $150,000 checks if we're able to find a buyer on those, and nobody's calling them because they're intimidated. Anyways, TikTok, I'm going to stay live with you for about 10 more minutes, and I guess I'm going to do a call. I want to just show you that I think I can do. Zach's welcome to stay on, but I think podcast over. I'm just gonna find one person. I'm gonna give them a call because I really do feel like if they pick up the phone, I'll close them in one call.
Go do it.
Oh, you want to stay?
I'll stay on the Instagram one or the TikTok
Okay.
one.
Well, I'm
We'll end
not.
the podcast here.
We'll end the podcast here, but TikTok, stick around. I'm gonna